So I think the last time that I showed this, I was working on a brake lever up here on the handlebar, and I've kind of abandoned that. I've had a hard time coming up with anything I wanted to use. I wanted to make it a spoon brake, just come down, so I think I've already explained this once, but I even thought about using this waste valve and kind of making it come down on the tire like that. I tossed around a couple ideas. This is a valve off of a Land Rover coming down into the brake, and just nothing really hit me what I wanted to do. So this is what I came up with initially, which was that. So when you would pull the brake towards the handlebar, it would push a rod down that would then push it to the tire. And I was just going to suspend this brake lever from a pivot point on the handlebar. That I just didn't really get into it. Couldn't find anything, first of all, to use that I really liked. I melted this guy down from one of those yard claws, digger uppers, and never really liked that. So come up with just a rear kind of friction brake on the back here. Get the camera set up good enough where you can see. And what I'm going to do is move this little piece here and get that lined up. And there'll be a band there to kind of hold it in place, and a spring that will return this back to the frame. And so when you put pressure on this top part with your foot, you will apply pressure to the rear wheel. And I'm planning on using a box wrench for that. And I'll probably heat and torch those so they're both straight, or make them both go the same direction. Or I may not, I don't know. It looks kind of cool that way. Anyway, that's where we are, so I need to weld that piece in and get the little wrap that's going to hold that where it goes, and then get a spring on that so it'll return. And once that's welded, I'll have to take this fender bolt out, because there won't be any way for me to get this off and on the bike without doing that. So let me see how far I can get on that, and we will turn it back on and get a product. So this is what I ended up with. It's not the prettiest, but I haven't been out on it yet. I think it's gonna work just fine. This little setup here I'm not real wild about, and I had to heat on one side of this wrench to get it, when this part touched the tire, this was not hitting the board. And so basically just push down on the and that should hit the tire. So I want to eventually trade this bracket out for something else. Don't really like that, but if it functions, I'll be happy for the night. The other thing was I was digging through the box of parts, and I found this rubber compass, which I thought was pretty cool. So we just epoxy that right there. So I am pretty happy with how that brake turned out. I did it is a little noisy, and it doesn't stop it like a caliper brake will. It doesn't stop it instantly. So I put a little inner tube on there. That didn't go too well. I didn't think it would, but thought I'd give it a try. It's not tearing up the tire at all. I got another one just like it. If it does tear it up, got those free. But if you are going down on a downhill, and you got both feet riding here, you just lift up your heels and put them on it. And if you put pressure with both feet on there, it's really good. I was actually really kind of surprised on how good it did. So I'll cut all that rubberized junk off of there, and I may decide to weld like a regular bicycle brake onto it, but other than the noise, it works perfectly fine. The other thing was, I forgot to mention, I went back and did the hand wraps, and I didn't cut the inner tube or anything. I just kept it both sides folded, and took one piece, slipped it over the end, and I actually folded this back so it was on there, and then I folded half of it back, started to wrap, and then just folded it down over it, wrapped it, and then when I got down to the end, wrapped it with a piece of open inner tube, and then I just made these little streamers and just poked the inner tube in and stuck those inside there to cover the hole. But pretty happy with how that turned out too, and they're comfortable, and they're not going to tear up real quick. They're going to last a while. So I guess next on the list, we go working brake. So this rim's getting painted white. The bike, the part that's not painted blue, I'm gonna basically combine these three blues and kind of see what we get, and I'm going to go over it with black and then wipe it down, and then go over it with copper and wipe it down. The pieces that are already blue, I doubt I will do anything with them at all. Probably just leave them alone. The other thing that needs adjusted is this is now way out of whack because I've moved this some, so I'm not sure what I've messed up, but this should not be that loose, so we gotta figure out what's going on with that and tighten these brackets up and get that guy so it'll sit tight and not hit and rub. But overall, I did 6 miles on it tonight after I got the brake on. It's a lot of fun, and I'm anxious to take it to my event that's coming up. How I figured out because I was trying to figure out how I could do this, is I took at work a little paperclip model. So I was thinking if I put pressure on my foot here, that puts pressure on the tire. I just needed the pivot point. So basically I needed to build this shape of an object. It can go this way too. Just so that when you put pressure on one, this end comes up, and then I would put a spring on it. And I got pretty much that exact thing going on here. Push on this, it lifts up this lever back here. So paperclip pipe cleaner models can sometimes save you some thinking time. So I'll go and round these corners, kind of clean this up. We'll paint all that, and I'll clean it up on the inside too. And I'll clean that up. And I don't know what I'm going to do here. I don't know if I'm going to try and feather it in or just leave it. I mean, it's just made out of junk. It has to be perfect. And then I still don't know if I'm going to do kind of like the faux leather gas tank here or not. I haven't decided yet. It might look kind of cool if I did. I don't know if I'll have time. I want to take it this weekend. So paint the rim, grind that down, paint the whole frame, and then we'll see where we go from there. So I feel that the time has come where I'm going to take this bike apart, Kickbike apart, and try and grind the areas that I want to grind. And I tried using just kind of some JB Weld epoxy, because I don't really care what it looks like to kind of smooth that out a little bit. Not real happy with that, so I'm going to go grind that out. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. Use actual like body filler or something like that. I am going to go grind that out of there. Pull this, for lack of a better term, skateboard board off of there and take it apart to the point where we can paint it. And I'll paint that front rim white, just white, and then I'm going to kind of take some sandpaper and maybe some brown paint and try to make it kind of look like this rusty rear rim. I don't want it shiny white, and I don't have any dull white, off-white, so we're just going to go with white. I want to go with what I have. I don't want to buy more paint. And then, as I stated in the previous videos, I'll do some combination of those, and then after it's dried, wipe with the black. So I'm going to take it all apart, take it out, grind it, and we will hopefully put it all back together tomorrow. And I'll be able to take it with me on my trip. So there she is, all naked in her glory. I'm going to go out and grind the pieces I need to grind. Make those rear drops, if that's what you want to call them, severe drops, a little more refined. They're pretty crude. So get those ground down, and then I'm just going to slap some paint on it and call it good. The front tire I have lightly sanded. I don't really care if paint sticks or not. That's kind of the whole point of this thing. It's a project you can have fun with, and I don't have to be picky about it. I don't have to care. I don't have to be like when I built the sidecar and try to make it where people are going to really be looking at it. So I got those ground down, I think, as well as good as they're going to get. Looks a little bit better than just square. Again, this is a project that I don't really care at all about. It's just a fun thing. So I'm going to try slapping some paint on this bad boy. I've prepped it as much as I'm going to prep it, and we are going to just go with it and call it good. Put that kind of darker one down on there, and then just kind of hit it lightly with that lighter blue. That might be workable. Let's go with that. Well, here we are. I took that perfectly white wheel and kind of gunked it up, made it kind of match the other rear tire that I had. Changed out the kickstand, going to be that. Kind of put a little stain on the back part of that to make it look a little better. Added my mud flaps, that one there, one here. Put the taillight on, and second busted windshield in the. And I think I'm going to go on a couple spots and just wire wheel it and then put some hydrogen peroxide on it to rust it, and then we'll put oil over it. Oh, I got the front headlight on too. So I need to go back and kind of put a little bit of something on those, probably some stain, to kind of make those bolts look older. Mud flap's going to hit. Didn't think about that. There we go, I just need to put it up a little bit. So that's where we are, and I'd like to get this back together in the next hour so I can get on with the rest of the things I need to do today. But, oh, I put a hub polisher on the back too, so as that wheel goes around, that'll kind of get kicked around in the middle there. So let me take the wire wheel to that and put some hydrogen peroxide. I'm just going to kind of do it in here and down in here, and we'll rust that out a little bit, make it kind of blend in a little better. Probably do a spot right there where it's a little bit heavier dark. So let me do that and we'll go from there. So I want to add a little bit of faux rust, if you will. I've ground a few areas down on the frame, there and there, on that little riser, and a couple little areas down here. And this is just a mixture of vinegar, equal parts vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, and about a teaspoon of salt. And if you can not touch this, that's probably a good thing. We're just going to put those up on there, and it'll rust it pretty quickly. It does have to kind of stay soaked in the solution for a few minutes, so that's too deep of a jar. And if it runs down on the paint, it makes a rust mark even better. We'll leave those there for just a second, and then we'll pull those off and see what we get.